नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. I'll get started off, Mataji.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Brahmavacha. ज्ञातुसी मे ज्ञासुचिनन्नानुदेहभाजाम् न ज्ञायते भगवतो गतिरिति अवध्यम् नान्यत्वत् अस्ति भगवान् अपि तन्न सूदम् माया गुणा व्यक्तिकारद्यद् उरुर्विभाषि.
Lord Brahma said, O my Lord, today, after many, many years of penance, I have come to you about you. Oh, how unfortunate the embodied living entities are that they are unable to know your personality. My Lord, you are the knowable object because there is nothing supreme beyond you. If there is anything supposedly superior to you, it is not. You exist as the supreme by exhibiting the creative energy of matter.
रूपं यद् एतद् अवबोधरसोद्गायेन शाश्वन्निवृत्ततमसा सद् अनुग्रहाय आदौ गृहीतम् अवतारसतैकबीजं यन्नाभिपद्मा भवनाद् अहम् अविश्राम्.
The form which I see is eternally freed from material contamination and has advented to show mercy to the devotees as a manifestation of eternal potency. This incarnation is the origin of many other incarnations, and I am born from the lotus flower grown from your navel home.
6-3. नाता परं परमयद् भावता स्वरूपम् आनन्दमात्रम् अविकल्पमविदिवार्चा पश्यामि विश्वसृजम् एकम् अविश्यम् आत्मान् भूतेन्द्रियात्मका मदस्तद् उपाश्रितोऽस्मि.
Lord, form superior to your present form of eternal bliss and knowledge. In your impersonal Brahman effulgence, in the spiritual sky, there is no occasional change and no deterioration of internal potency. I surrender unto you because whereas I am proud of my material body and senses, your lordship is the cause of the cosmic manifestation, and yet you are untouched by matter.
4. तद्वा इदं भुवनमङ्गलाय जाने स्मनो दर्शितं ता उपासकानां तस्मै नमो भगवते नुविदेम तुभ्यं योनार्दात्रो नरकाभाग्भिरसत्प्रसङ्गै.
This present form, or any transcendental form expanded by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is equally auspicious for all the universes. Since you have manifested this eternal personal whom your devotees meditate, I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Those who are destined to be dispatched to this path of hell neglect your personal form because of speculating on material topics.
6-5. येतो त्वदीया चरणाम्बुजकोशगन्धं जिग्रान्तिकर्णविवरैः श्रुतिवतातनीतं भक्त्या गृहीतचरणपराय च तेषां नापैसनाथ हृदयाम्बुरुहत् स्वापुंसम्.
O my Lord, persons who smell the aroma of your lotus feet, carried by the air of Vedic sound through the holes of their ears, accept your devotional service. For them, you are never separated from the lotus of their hearts.
6. तावद्भयं द्रविणदेहसुहृन्निमित्तं शोकस्पृशा परिभवो विफलश्च लोभा तावन्मामेति असद् अवग्रह आर्तिमूलं यावन्नाते निगृणं अभयं प्रवृणीति लोका.
O my Lord, the people of the world are embarrassed by all material anxieties. They are always afraid. They always try to protect wealth, body, and friends. They are filled with lamentation and unlawful desires and paraphernalia. and they avariciously base their undertakings on the perishable conceptions of my and mine. As long as they do not take shelter of your safe lotus feet, they are full of such anxieties.
7. Daivena te hata diyo bhavanta prasangat sarvasubhopasamannad vimuktendriye kurvanti kama sukale lesalava yadina lobivuta manasa kusalanit sashvat.
O my Lord, persons who are bereft of all the auspicious performance of chanting and hearing about your transcendental activities are certainly unfortunate, and they are also bereft of any good sense. They engage in inauspicious activities, enjoying sense gratification for a very little while.
8. Shutrit tridadi tubar ima muhur arjamana sitosnava tadvarasai itaretaretsha Kamagninin chutta rusacha sudurbarena sampasyanto mana usu urukrama siddhame.
O great actor, my Lord, all these poor creatures are constantly perplexed by hunger, thirst, severe cold, secretion, and bile, attacked by cough in winter, blast in summer, rains, and many other disturbing elements, and overwhelmed by strong sex urges and indefatigable anger. I take pity on them, and I am very much aggrieved for them.
9. Yavat pratakvam idam atmana indriyartha maya balam bhagavato jana isa pasyet tavanna samsmritir asau pratishankramete vyartapi dukkha nivaham vahati kriyartha.
O my Lord, the material miseries are without factual existence for the soul. Yet, as long as the conditioned soul sees the body as meant for sense enjoyment, he cannot get out of this entanglement of material miseries, being influenced by your external energy.
10. Ahne aprartarta karana nishi nisayana nana monor tadiya shana bagna nidra daivahatarta rachana rashiopi deva yusman prasanga vimukka iha samsranti.
Such non-devotees engage their senses in very troublesome and extensive work, and they suffer insomnia at night because their intelligence constantly breaks their sleep with various mental speculations. They are frustrated in all their various plans by supernatural power. Even great sages, if they are against your transcendental topics, must rotate in this material world.
611. Tvam bhakti yoga prabhavita hrit saroja Ashe Shruti Kshita Pato Nano Nata Pumsam Yad Yadyata Urugaya Vibhavayanti Tat Tadvapu Pranashiyati Sad Anugrahaya.
O my Lord, your devotees can see you through the ears by the process of bona fide hearing, and thus their hearts become cleansed, and you take shelter, and you take your seat there. You are so merciful to your devotees that you manifest yourself in the particular eternal form of transcendence in which they always think of you.
612. Nati prasidati tato pachito pacharai aradita suragana hiridi baddha kamai yat sarva bhuta dayaya sad alabhya yaiko nana janesva avahita suhrid antaratma.
My Lord, you are not very much satisfied by the worship of the demigods, who arrange for your worship very pompously with various paraphernalia, but who are full of material hankering. You are situated in everyone's heart as a supersoul, just to show your causeless mercy, and you are the eternal well-wisher, but you are unavailable for the non-devotee.
613. Pumsam ato vivida karmabir advarajyai danena chogra tapasa parichayaya cha Aradhanam bhagavatastava satkriyarto dharmo ripita karhichid mriyate na yatra.
But the pious activities of the people, such as performance of Vedic rituals, charity, austere penances, and transcendental service, performed with a view to worship you and satisfy you by offering you the fruitive results, are also beneficial. Such acts of religion never go in vain.
614. Shashwat Swarupa Mahasaiva Nipita Beda Mohaya Bodha Dishanaya Nama Parasmai Vishwodbhava Switi Layesa Nimitta Leela Rasayate Nama Idam Chakrime Swaraya.
Let me offer my obeisances unto the supreme transcendence, who is eternally distinguished by his eternal potency. His distinguishable impersonal feature is realized by intelligence for self-realization. I offer my obeisances unto him, who by his pastimes enjoys the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation.
615. Yasyavatara guna karma vidamba banani namani yesu vigama vivasva nigrinanti tenaika janma samalam sahasaiva hitva samyanti apavritam ritam tam ajam prapadye.
Let me take shelter of the lotus feet of him whose incarnations, qualities, and activities are mysterious imitations of worldly affairs. One who invokes his transcendental names, even unconsciously, at the time he quits his life, is certainly washed immediately of the sins of many, many births and attains him without fail.
16. Yova aham cha girishascha vibhu swayam cha sthiti udbhava pralaya hetava atmamulam bitva tripad avivrida eka uruparohas tasmai namo bhagavate bhavanadrumaya.
Your Lordship is the prime root of the tree of this planetary system. This tree has grown by first penetrating the material nature in three trunks, as me, Shiva, and you, the Almighty, for creation, maintenance, and dissolution. And we three have grown with many branches. Therefore, I offer my obeisances unto you, the tree of cosmic manifestation.
17. Loko vikarma nirata kusala pramata karmane ayam tvad uditi bhavad archane swe yastavad asya balavan iha jivitasam sadya archanati animishyaya namostu tasmai.
People in general all engage in foolish acts, not in the really beneficial activities enunciated directly by you for their guidance. As long as their tendency for foolish work remains powerful, all their plans in the struggle for existence will be cut into pieces. I therefore offer my obeisances unto him who acts as eternal time.
18. Yasmad bibime aham api dveparad yadishnam adyashita sakala loka namaskrityam yat tepitapo bahasavo varurat samanas tasmai namo bhagavate dima kayatubhyam.
Your Lordship, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, who are indefatigable time and the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Although I am situated in an abode which will continue to exist for a time duration of 2 Bharadas, although I am the leader of all the planets in the universe, And although I have undergone many, many years of penance of self-realization, still I offer my respects unto you.
619. Tiryan manusya vibudadishu jivayonisha atme chayatma krita setu paripsayaya reme nirasta visayopai avaruddha deha tasmai namo bhagavate purushottamaya.
O my Lord, by your own will you appear in the various species of living entities, among animals lower than human beings, as well as among the demigods, to perform your transcendental pastimes. You are not affected by material contaminations. You come just to fulfill the obligations of your own principles of religion, and therefore, O Supreme Personality, I offer my obeisances unto you for manifesting such different forms.
Text number 20. Yo vidyayano pahatopi dasharada vritya nidram uvaha jatare krita lokayatra antarjalehi kashipu sparshanukulam bimormi malina janasya sukam virnavan.
My Lord, you accept the pleasure of sleeping in the water of devastation, where there are violent waves, and you enjoy pleasure on the bed of snakes, showing the happiness of your sleep to intelligent persons. At that time, all the universal planets are stationed within your abdomen.
621. Yannabi Padma Bhavanad Aham Asam Idya Loka Trayopakarano Yad Anugrahena Tasmai Namastad Udarasta Bhavayo Yoga Nidravashana Vikasan Nalikshanayan Nyaya.
O object of my worship, I am born from the house of your lotus navel for the purpose of creating the universe by your mercy. All these planets of the universe were stationed within you, within your transcendental abdomen, while you were enjoying sleep. Now your sleeping having ended, your eyes are open like blossoming lotuses in the morning.
622. Soyam samasta jagatam suhrid eka atma satvena yan mriyadayate bhagavan bhagena tenaiva medrisyam anuspara yataham srakshyami purvavad idam pranata priyosau.
Let the Supreme Lord be merciful towards me. He is the one friend and soul of all living entities in the world, and he maintains all for their ultimate happiness by his 6 transcendental opulences. May he be merciful towards me so that I, as before, may be empowered with the introspection to create, for I am also one of the surrendered souls who are dear to the Lord. Hare Krishna. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you very much. Thank you, Shyam Prabhu, as always, reciting the Sanskrit slokas.
Thank you,
And thank you, Bhavani Mataji, as well. Thank you very much for your lovely translation. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to today's chat, 23rd of February, 2025. My name is Krishna Govinda Das. And today's canto will be reading from Canto 3, Status Quo, Chapter 9, Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy. And the verses we're reading today is 4, 5, and 6. So I'll just start with the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayam Namaskritcham Naram Chaiva Narottanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraya Nashtashu Bhadrashu Nitya Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Noishtaki. Just forgot to share the page. Just let me know if you can see that, okay?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Thank you, okay? So today's first verse is going to be verse number 4. Tarvaidam bhavana mangala mangalya jhanesmano darshitam tapasakanam tasmai namo bhagavate nivede matubhyam yo nadrito naraka bhagve asat pashange. Translation: this present form, or any transcendental form expanded by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, is equally auspicious for all the universes. Since you have manifested this eternal personal form upon whom your devotees meditate, I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Those who are destined to be dispatched to the path of hell neglect your personal form because of speculating on material topics. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Regarding the personal and impersonal features of the Supreme Absolute Truth, the personal forms exhibited by the Lord in His different plenary expansions are all for the benediction for all the universes. The personal feature of the Lord is also worshipped in meditation as Supersoul Paramatma, but the impersonal Brahmajyoti is not worshipped. Persons who are addicted to the impersonal feature of the Lord, whether in meditation or otherwise, are all pilgrims to hell because, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, verse 5, impersonalists simply waste their time in mundane mental speculation because they are addicted to more false arguments than to reality. Therefore, the association of the impersonalists is condemned herewith by Brahma. All the plenary expansions of the personality of Godhead are equally potent, as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, verse 46. Tipachi eva hi tashantaram apyupetya tipayate vivrita hitu samana dharma yastadrik eva hi cha vishnutaya vipati Govinda Madhipurusham tamam pajami. The Lord expands himself as the flames of a fire expand one after another. Although the original flame of Sri Krishna is accepted as Govinda, the Supreme Person, all the other expansions such as Rama, Nrsimha, and Varaha are as potent as the original Lord. All such expanded forms are transcendental. In the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is made clear that the Supreme Truth is eternally uncontaminated by material touch. There is no jugglery of words and activities in the transcendental kingdom of the Lord. All the Lord's forms are transcendental, and such manifestations are ever identical. The particular form of the Lord exhibited to a devotee is not mundane, even though the devotee may retain material desires, nor is it manifest under the influence of material energy, as is foolishly considered by the impersonalists. Impersonalists who consider the transcendental forms of the Lord to be the products of the material world are surely destined for hell. So I'll recite the invocation prayers. Please do join in. Om Jnana Timrandasya Jnana Jana Shalakaya Chakshurmalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swaya Vrupakada Mayam Tatati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakamitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapate Gopishwara Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namustate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. First of all, I'd like to offer my obeisances and seek the blessings of my spiritual master, His Holiness Bhakti Swami. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Swami Tenamane. Unto His Divine Grace, I say Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, His co-founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tenamane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachayane Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. Also seek the blessings of all the Vaishnavas listening, so that I may be able to speak on something which is pleasing and pleasurable on the topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this particular verse, as Lord Brahma is speaking to as Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, in the form of Vishnu, it's actually talking about the different features, his personal feature and his impersonal feature. For the devotees of the Lord who are Vaishnavas, they always see the personal form of the Lord, and later on we'll explain how we can distinguish the difference between the personal and impersonal feature of the Lord. But to start off with, here he's condemning the Srila Prabhupada is actually saying about the people who actually believe in the impersonal feature of the Lord. The impersonal feature of the Lord is considered to be the Brahma Jyoti, the formless form of the Supreme Lord. Just like you have the sun globe, and then you have the sun ray or the light that's emanating from the sun itself. They feel that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although he has a form, but is very limited in the form of a human, perhaps, or four-arm form or multi-arm form, but they're still limited. But they see the impersonal feature, the Supreme Lord, as the prime reason for them attaining this nirvana or the salvation or liberation, going back to Godhead. And when they do eventually take their next birth in the form of liberation, they actually just merge with the Brahma Jyoti itself. But the Brahma Jyoti itself, although they may have some pleasure for a limited time, they eventually come back and fall down and take birth again into the lower planets of the world. But the impersonal feature of the Lord is actually condemned because they feel, or it's been explained, that the impersonal feature does not have any personal form, does not have any eyes, does not have any nose or ears. The Vaishnavas actually condemn this because they say that to become an impersonalist is even worse than becoming an atheist, because you are believing in the Lord, but you're not actually recognizing His supreme personality in His Archa form. So here Srila Prabhupada actually quotes a particular verse from Bhagavad Gita 12.5. I share that with you. Kleshodika tarastesham avyakta shakta chetasham avyakta hikate dukam devat avapyate. Translation: for those whose minds are attached to their manifested personal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. So originally, during the time of the lineage of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there was two different parties. Some of the personalists and some of the impersonalists. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's own spiritual master was an impersonalist, but he took shelter of his spiritual master. The whole idea was that anybody who came in contact with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is done different from Radha and Krishna, would actually automatically understand that Krishna is a person, is a being, it's a personality, and that impersonal feature comes from the Supreme Lord himself. In fact, he actually gave a discourse to thousands and thousands of Mayavadis who were the impersonalists, and somehow, by his magical touch, by his magical presence, they all became personalists, they all became Vaishnavas. So that just shows you the potency of the Supreme Lord, shows you the potency of preaching about the Supreme Lord and his personal feature. Here, we actually understand where Srila Prabhupada is also referring to the absolute truth. Regarding the personal and impersonal features of the Supreme Absolute Truth. Now, what is, does anybody know what are the three aspects of the Absolute Truth? What is recognized as the Absolute Truth? Does anybody know? Can anybody answer?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, we connect
Yes.
the humble distances. It's
Yes,
the
Indalika
Brahman,
Mataji.
the
Yeah.
Brahman, the Paramatma, and the Bhagavan.
Yes, very good. Thank you so much, Indalika Mataji. So, with your permission, I'm going to share you another verse. And this verse was, for me, was one of the first verses I learned when I was a young boy, when I was 16. Indalika Mataji, would you like to recite this verse and the translation?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I can try.
Yeah.
Vadanti tattvavidas-tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti sabdhyate. Translation: learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. I'll just read a couple of sentences from the purport, so it gives you a further explanation about the position of the Absolute Truth. The Absolute Truth is both subject and object, and there is no qualitative difference there. Therefore, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are qualitatively one and the same. The same substance is realized as impersonal Brahman by the students of the Upanishads, as localized Brahma, Paramatma by the Hiranyagarbhas, by the yogis, and as Bhagavan by the devotees. So just to understand, the impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord, recognized as Brahman, they're actually worshipped by the students of the Upanishads, the impersonalists. But those who worship the Supreme Absolute Truth in the form of Paramatma, what residing in your heart, are the yogis. But the devotees, they actually see the Supreme Lord as Bhagavan, the Vaishnavas. In other words, Bhagavan, or the personality of Godhead, is the last word of the Absolute Truth. Paramatma is the partial representation of the personality of Godhead. And impersonal Brahman is the glowing effulgence of the personality of Godhead, as the sun rays are to the sun god. So, to give you an analogy, supposing you have the sun, you have the globe itself, and you have the sun rays that's emitting from the sun itself. So if you assume the personality residing in the sun as a sun god, the globe as Paramatma, and then the sun rays as the personal feature of the Supreme Lord. So you see the three aspects of the sun globe, the personality within the sun, the globe itself, the shape of the form of the globe itself, and then also the sun rays. So also at the same time, Bhagavan has unlimited qualities. And then one of the qualities is also the 6 particular qualities that the Supreme Lord has in his Bhagavan feature form. Does anybody know those 6 opulences or 6 qualities? The prominent qualities of the Supreme Lord?
Fame, beauty, wealth,
Yeah.
power, renunciation, and what's the other one?
Knowledge,
Renunciation.
wisdom.
Wisdom.
Yeah, very good. Thank you so much. So strength, fame, beauty, opulence, renunciation, wisdom. So the Supreme Lord, because he's absolute, there's no limit to how much qualities he has. And any qualities he has is unlimited, of course. But you actually recognize the form of Bhagavan, he has 6 major or prominent qualities that recognize him from himself as the Supreme Lord or to somebody else who's trying to emulate or imitate the Supreme Lord. That is strength, fame, beauty, opulence, renunciation, and wisdom. And there's also further along the line, here Srila Prabhupada further explains about the flames of a fire expand from one to another. So although the original flame is recognized as Krishna or Govinda, the Supreme Person, Govinda Madhipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord. So Prabhupada is explaining, just like you take a flame and make another flame, the qualities of the second flame is identical to the first flame, just like when you take a candle and light it up from the first candle, or however many candles you have, you light them up one after the other. They emit the same amount of light or energy as the first candle, but they're still the original flame, the original, in this case, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. So similarly, from the Astapanishad, there's a beautiful verse. This is invocation prayers. Does anybody want to recite this? The verse and the translation? It's a beautiful verse. This is.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes. Om
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Ujjate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete, and because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because he is a complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. So this actually explains about the Supreme Personality of Godhead being complete. Even in this phenomenal world, referring to the spiritual world, if you take a portion of it, it's still complete and perfect in its own right. And no matter how many times you deduct from the original Personality of Godhead, that always remains complete, as well as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Normally, when you have a pot of money and you give it to somebody, little portions at a time, slowly your original pot of money diminishes, but everybody has a small portion of it. But here, you have a pot of money, no matter how much you give out, the original pot of money stays the same. So similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, through his mysticism, his opulences, his power as the Supreme, to understand that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, anything that emanates from him is complete. Even a part of that may be a partial expansion, it may not fulfill the full qualities of the original Personality of Godhead, but is still considered to be part and parcel of that Supreme Personality of Godhead. Another recognition of or qualities of the Absolute Truth is also by the four features of the Lord as well. And normally Srila Prabhupada refers to that as the name, quality, form, pastimes of the Lord. He refers to that quite often, and each one of them refer to like guna in the form of quality, rupa in the form of form, the form of the Lord. The lila, his pastimes are always eternal, ever existing. And nama, his holy name. We were talking about this the other day, about the holy name considered to be non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in this age of Kali, age of quarrel and hypocrisy, we worship the Supreme Lord in the form of his holy name, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's considered to be non-different from the Supreme Lord himself, as all the qualities as featured in the Supreme Lord. And in the Shikshastakam, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually says that your holy name you've invested all your energies in your holy name, and there are no hard and fast rules by chanting his holy names. So that's how potent the holy name is. But because of our conditioning, because of our anarthas, because of the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance always covering our pure heart, our pure soul, we don't always see the holy name as non-different from the Supreme Lord. So of course, through practicing, through constant chanting the holy name of the Lord, with faith, with Shraddha, you develop that Nama Ruchi taste of pure love of Godhead. So even in the Rupa form, it's actually even split into further sort of recognition of the Lord, Rupa or the form, although The Lord has many, many forms. There's 4 particular forms that's been recognized as follows. The first one is the Virat Rupa form. That is recognized as the universal form. Although it's temporary, it's considered to be a mature manifestation of the Lord because it dissolves at the time of annihilation. This is the same Virat Rupa form, the universal form that Lord Krishna had shown to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The second form or guna, the second rupa is considered to be kala, time. And he is inevitable time, time I am the destroyer of the world. He creates everything, he maintains everything, and at the end of dissolution, everything is completely destroyed. And he is the cause of time. In the form of time is also recognized as death as well, which is part of the sub-energies of time. Then there's Brahmajyoti, which we were talking about earlier on, which is the personal feature of the Supreme Lord. And then finally, its personal form, which is called the Saguna. Yeah. So the 4 forms are Virat, Kala, Brahmajyoti, and Saguna. Just hope that's clear to everybody. Yeah. Let's go to read the next verse. This is verse 5. Yetu tvadiya charambuja kosha gandham jagrante kana vivare suti vatanitam pakchakrita charana paraya chatesham napeshi nata hridayam bohorat swapumsham. Translation. O my Lord, persons who smell the aroma of your lotus feet carried by the air of Vedic sand through the holes of the ears accept your devotional service. For them you are never separated from the lotus of their hearts. This is such a beautiful verse. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. For the pure devotees of the Lord, there is nothing beyond the lotus feet of the Lord. The Lord knows that such devotees do not wish anything more than that. The word too specifically establishes this fact. The Lord also does not wish to be separated from the lotus hearts of those pure devotees. That is the transcendental relationship between the pure devotees and the personality of Godhead. Because the Lord does not wish to separate himself from the heart of such pure devotees, it is understood they are specifically dearer than the impersonalists. The relationship of the pure devotees with the Lord develops because of devotional service to the Lord on the authentic basis of Vedic authority. Such pure devotees are not mundane sentimentalists, but are factually realists because their activities are supported by the Vedic authorities who have given oral reception to the facts mentioned in the Vedic literatures. The word paraya is very significant. Para bhakti, a spontaneous love of God, is the basis of an intimate relationship with the Lord. This higher stage of relationship with the Lord can be attained simply by hearing about him, as we mentioned earlier on, his name, form, quality, pastimes, etc. From authentic sources like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, recited by pure, unalloyed devotees of the Lord. So this is a very beautiful verse, and there's a very beautiful verse I wanted to share with you. So first of all, devotees aren't sentimental. When they actually have complete faith in the Supreme Lord, they have no particular objectives in their mind. They have no sort of personal ambitions in their mind. Everything is subjective to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they just want to remain at his lotus feet. Nothing else really matters. No matter what the difficulties they may be facing, whether the different conditions of weather, the hardships, hunger, fame, glory, when they're completely detached, when they're Paramahamsa, they actually see that I am just a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and I just want to take shelter of the Supreme Lord and his lotus feet. And last week we were mentioning about the importance about the lotus, why the feet is referred to a lotus. When you see a very unkempt lake, sometimes it looks like a not very pleasant weeds, shrubs, all sorts of sort of a growth on the lake surface comes out, but out sprouts above the water level is a beautiful lotus. The lotus represents the phenomenal aspects of purity, aspects of fragrance, color, all sorts of qualities that you can recognize within a lotus. So when we refer to Krishna's feet, we tend to see it as very soft, very beautiful, very attractive, untouched by any contaminated material realm at all. Now, devotees, because they're not sentimental, Prabhupada also mentions quite often in some of his lectures or purpose that philosophy without religion is fanaticism, and religion without philosophy is sentimentalism. So sometimes we see a lot of people who are becoming very fanatic in their faith. They see this is our way and no other way. They become very fanatical, partly because the religion also has to offer you culture, some words of appreciation, wisdom, knowledge, how to go about practicing your devotional life. But if it's just basically pure philosophy, then it doesn't have any room for any culture, any room for devotion at all. Similarly, if you just have religion without the philosophy, then you become very sentimental, you become very absent-minded. You don't really connect the two together, the importance of devotional service along with philosophy. Sometimes Satyananda Maharaj even once said, sometimes we can be always chanting Hare Krishna, which is so beautiful, and there is no objection to it. But importantly, we have to understand why we are chanting, and that comes in the form of reading the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita. The reason being, that eventually there may be a point in your life that you go through difficulty stages in your life, perhaps a loss of a loved one, some personal issues in your life. The chanting of the Hare Krishna may not have the same impact. The reason being because the philosophy actually makes you understand the importance of chanting the holy name, why the name of the Lord is not different from chanting the holy name. So it's important to have both the philosophy and the religion side by side. Now, when it mentions here that for them, you are never separated from the lotus feet of their hearts. So if I just show you this, share this beautiful verse. During the time of COVID, many of us lost really a lot of loved and dear ones. And this particular verse was mentioned quite a few times in a lot of the Zoom online classes. And even His Holiness Satyananda Maharaj quoted this particular verse in one of his Zoom online classes as well. Would anybody like to recite the verse in translation? This is from chapter 9, Canto 9, chapter 4, verse 68, Srimad Bhagavatam. It's the story between Ambarish Maharaj and Durvasha Muni, and Lord Vishnu is reciting this verse. Any volunteers? Okay.
I can
Sadam?
try, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, if you go up a bit, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Sadhavo hridayam mahyam, sadhunam hridayam tvaham, mad anyat te na jananti, naham tebhyo managapi. The pure devotee is always within the core of my heart, and I'm always in the heart of the pure devotee. My devotees do not know anything else but me, and I do not know anyone else but them.
Yeah,
Thank
you so much, Jay. It's nicely recited. Yes, it's a beautiful verse. So try to remember this. Pure devotee is always within the core of my heart, and I am always in the heart of the pure devotee. So Krishna knows nobody else, and the devotee knows nobody else. In this way, we should remain focused in our spiritual journey of surrendering to the devotees and to Krishna himself. One other verse I just quickly share with you, when on the previous verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam verse, where it was mentioning about that the devotees just want to remain at the lotus feet of the Lord. So this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Shikshashtakam, Lord Chaitanya Shikshashtakam, verse 5. Ayi nanda tanuja kinkaram patitamam vishame bhavam buddho kripaya teva pada pankaja Chita Duli Sadrishavin Chintaya. O my Lord, O Krishna, son of Maharaj Nanda, I am your eternal servant, but because of my own fruitive acts, I've fallen into this horrible ocean of nescience. Now please be cautiously merciful to me. Consider me a particle of dust at your lotus feet. That's what we want to be, just a particle of dust at his lotus feet. In some translation, it recognizes as an atom. Please place me as an atom at your lotus feet. So this is the mood of the devotee. We don't really want any name, fame, glory, or any prestige, any recognition. I'm giving this class. I have so many disciples. I'm donating so much money to Krishna. I have a beautiful house. The devotees recognize me for what I do. We just want to serve the Supreme Lord because of who he is, not because we want something in return. But at the same time, another Vaishnava would also recognize the good qualities of a devotee by his enthusiasm, by his endeavor, by his mood of surrender. Although he would praise that devotee, but to that point where that devotee would just close his ears and would not want to hear, because he doesn't want those good qualities to be imbibed in his heart, which is already fructified in devotional service, to be contaminated in a way that allows pride or ego to be the better out of him. And one thing I have really noticed in my spiritual journey, that we have to really, really take care of the devotees, have to really try our best to see whatever they do and praise them in such a way they feel uplifted, they feel enthusiastic. Just like Jay Mataji, she recited this verse so beautifully. She was a little shy, the verse before, sorry. She was a little shy, but she recited it so nicely. So that enthusiasm will encourage her to recite further verses in the future, not because she wants to show off, but because I am actually developing a bit of taste of learning about Krishna consciousness. And that's our mood, always trying to encourage everybody. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, in this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. That fear, the form of distress, the form of death, the form of difficulties in our life. There's so much fears that we face every day. Now, just going on to the last verse. Text 6. Tavarbayam Travina Deham Suram Nimitam Shokas Priya Paripavo Vipalascha Lobaha Tavar Mameti Ashadavagraha Atimulam Yavanate Nigrim Abhyam Pravrinita Lokaha. Translation. O my Lord, the people of the world are embarrassed by all material anxieties. They are always afraid. They always try to protect wealth, body, and friends. They are filled with lamentation and unlawful desires and paraphernalia, and they avariciously base their undertakings on the perishable conceptions of my and mine. As long as they do not take shelter of your safe lotus feet, they are full of such anxieties. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. One may question how one can always think of the Lord in regard to his name, fame, quality, etc. One is embarrassed by thoughts of family affairs. Everyone in the material world is full of thoughts about how to maintain his family, how to protect his wealth, how to keep peace or pace with friends and relatives, and also perhaps peace as well. Thus he is always in fear and lamentation, trying to keep up with the status quo. In answer to this question, this verse spoken by Brahma is very appropriate. Pure devotee of the Lord never thinks of himself as the proprietor of his home. He surrenders everything unto the supreme control of the Lord, and thus he has no fear for maintaining his family or protecting the interests of his family. Because of the surrender, he no longer has any attraction for wealth. Even if there is attraction for wealth, it is not for sense enjoyment, but for the service of the Lord. Pure devotee may be attracted to accumulating wealth, just like an ordinary man, but the difference is that a devotee acquires money for the service of the Lord, whereas the ordinary man acquires money for his sense enjoyment. This acquisition of wealth by devotee is not a source of anxieties, as is the case of a worldly man. Because a pure devotee accepts everything in the sense of serving the Lord, the poisonous teeth of accumulation of wealth are extracted. If a snake has its poison removed and bites a man, there is no fatal effect. Similarly, wealth accumulated in the cause of the Lord has no poisonous teeth. The effect is not fatal. A pure devotee is never entangled in material worldly affairs, even though he may remain in the world like an ordinary man. So this verse, so beautifully explained by Srila Prabhupada in his purport, actually we can all sort of feel a connection to this particular purport. We're always thinking, how can we progress in our spiritual journey? We're always a little intimidated if somebody may sort of question you, why are you a vegetarian? Why have you got a Sikha? Why have you got this Kuntimala? Especially a child, you always get bullied by other kids and they want to rip your Kuntimala off and want to pull your Sikha. We had all that when we were school kids, having Sikha and Kuntimala. But somehow or another, Krishna really gave us some strength because we had so many wonderful devotees who always took care of us so nicely and always encouraged us in so many ways. There was such an enjoyable, incredible moment coming to the temple that forevermore you were always thinking about going to the temple again. In those days, it was not always feasible because we only had one kind of family. But just being in the association of the devotees actually kept you strong, kept you happy, kept you very connected to Krishna consciousness. So there may be an endeavor in your life. You want to become very career-minded, you may want to acquire wealth, you may want to gain some opulence, but yes, it's in your karma, it's in your sort of in your sort of stars itself. It's been written, and you may be a very ambitious person. Some may be lazy, just like in work. You may see some people have progressed in their career journey so much faster in such a short period of time, whereas somebody is a bit laid back, lazy, always complaining. They don't really progress in their journey at all because they don't take it seriously. Just a couple of verses I just wanted to share with you before I close off. Just came to my mind, just for time. I'll just read the translation. This is from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, verses 13 and 15. It's more to do with the divine and demonic natures, this chapter, but just this particular verse came to my mind when I was reading the particular purport. The demonic person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him, and my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices. I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. And the conclusion is when one actually becomes to that spiritual state of becoming a devotee of the Lord, even if it's not wholeheartedly, by seeing other pure devotees, by seeing exalted devotees, you see their qualities. And those qualities are shown here by Krishna's statement to Arjuna from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, verse 13 and 14. Chapter 12 is devotional service. One who is not envious, but is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, so equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me. Such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sorry to take up more of your time today. I think we have a wonderful singer today.
Yes, Prabhuji, Matanot Pranamo, glories to Srila Prabhupada, Hare Krishna. Beautifully explained, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. So, Prabhuji, for today's bhajan, we have our dear Jai Vaid Mataji, who'll be singing a beautiful Radha Kunda bhajan. But before she sings the bhajan, we have our Shriji Kishori Mataji, who'll do in the English recitation. If that's okay, Prabhuji.
Yes, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for arranging this every week without fail. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Jyoti Mataji, for sharing the screen.
Do you want me to share it? If you tell me the verse.
If that's okay, Prabhuji, yes, I could tell you the bhajan, Prabhuji. It's Radha Kund Tata Kunj Kutir.
Okay,
It's
sure.
80 songs.
While we are bringing up this song, I would just like to thank Namrata Mataji for giving me this opportunity to sing on this platform. It's going to be my first time singing this particular bhajan. I would like to thank Mamta Mataji, in fact, who sang a few months ago, and I really fell in love with this bhajan. So thanks to her. It's a beautiful bhajan written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and it really touched my heart. I'm not sure whether I'll be able to sing it nicely, but I will do my best. Let me know when I can start.
Okay, Mataji, let me read the English translation first, please.
Oh,
Hare
yes,
Krishna,
yeah, sure,
everyone.
sure, yeah.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation of verses 1 to 6. The cottage in the grove on the banks of Radhakund, the great Govardhan hill, the banks of the Yamuna, the Kusuma Sarovara, Manasa Ganga, the daughter of Kalindi, the Yamuna, with her many waves, the Vamsi Vat, Gokula, Dhira Samira, the trees and creepers and reeds of Vrindavan, the different varieties of colorful birds, the deer, the cooling breeze from the Malaya mountains, the peacocks, the bumblebees, the pastimes with the flute itself, the buffalo horn bugle, the footprints of cows in the dust of Raja, the rows of blackish rain clouds, springtime, the moon, the conch shell, and the karatalas. All trees I know to be very conducive for the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. I recognize in them a transcendental stimulus for making the Lord's charming pastimes more intense. I refuse to go anywhere if those stimuli to devotional service are not there, for to abandon them is to abandon life itself. Bhaktivinoda says, please hear me, O Kana. Your entourage and paraphernalia stimulate remembrance of you and are the very source of my life. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Forgive me if I make any mistakes. Radha Kunda Tata Kunja Kutira, Radha Kunda Tata Kunja Kutira, Govardhana Parvata Jamunatira, Radha Kunda Tata Kunja Kutira, Kusuma Sarovara Manasa Ganga, Kalinda Nandini Vipula Taranga, Kusuma Sarovara Manasa Ganga, Kalinda Nandini Vipula Taranga, Vamsivata Gokula Dhira Samira, Brindabana Taru Balatika Banira, Radha Kunda Tata Kunja Kutira, खगमृगकुल मलय बतास मयूरा भ्रमारा मुरली विलास खगमृगकुल मलय बतास मयूरा भ्रमारा मुरली विलास वेणुशृङ्गपादा चिह्न मेघमाला वेणुशृङ्गपादा चिह्न मेघमाला वसंत शशंक शंख करताला राधा कुंड तट कुंज कुटीरा युगल विलासे अनुकूल जानी लीला विलासे उदीपक माणी युगल विलासे अनुकूल जानी लीला विलासे उदीपक माणी ए सब छोड़त कहीं नहीं जाऊं ए सब छोड़ा तो कहीं नहीं जाऊं ए सब छोड़ा तो प्राण हराऊं राधा कुंड तट कुंज कुटीरा भगति विनोद कोहे सुन काना तू दीपक हमारा प्राण भक्ति विनोद कोहे सुन काना तू दीपक हमारा प्राण राधा कुंड तट कुंज कुटीरा गोवर्धन पर्वत जमुना तीरा राधा कुंड तट कुंज कुटीरा राधा कुंड तट कुंज कुटीरा राधा कुंड तट कुंज कुटीरा. I think I might have forgotten what was, but sorry about that. Thank you.
Haribol Mataji, beautiful singing and beautiful recitation, Shri Shuri Mataji too. Beautiful. Haribol.
Haribol, Jai Mataji, well done. Beautiful singing. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Jai, so wonderfully recited. Thank you, Jai Mataji. And it was your first time as well. And so, as I mentioned earlier on, in this endeavor, as Krishna says, in this endeavor, there's no loss or diminution. So well done. Absolutely beautiful. And tomorrow is actually Vijaya Ekadashi. So everybody chant extra rounds, chant extra reading, engage yourself in devotional service, come take darshan, distribute prasadam to all the devotees and the community as well. Thank you very much, everyone. Shrimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Vancha
Kalpatarubhyascha
kalpatarubhyascha,
kripa
kripa
sindhubhyo
sindhubhyevacha,
cha
patitana
pavanebhyo
pavanebhyo,
vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
namo
namo namo
namaha.
namaha.
Anantakoti
Well done,
Vaishnava
well done,
Krishna, everyone.
Krishnaji. You
Jai.
sang so nicely. Maybe first time on this platform, but I know you sing so nicely on other platforms. Plus, you give class also. So, Chad should start thinking of giving you the opportunity to give class also. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you.